In the dead of night, a soaked and trembling golden retriever staggered up to the doorstep of an FBI field office, its fur caked in mud, its paws bloodied from the long, frantic run. The sharp scent of fear lingered in the air as the dog whimpered and barked, the sounds reverberating through the quiet lobby. Special Agent Emily Carter, just returning from a lengthy surveillance shift, was the first to notice the disturbance. She hurried to the door, her heart racing with a mix of curiosity and concern. As she opened the door, the dog looked up at her, its eyes wide and pleading. There was something in its gaze that struck a chord deep within her. Clutched in its mouth was a torn piece of fabric, stained dark with what could only be blood. A worn GPS tracker hung from its frayed collar, blinking erratically. "What is it, boy?" she whispered, crouching down to meet its gaze. The dog barked urgently, glancing back toward the street, as if urging her to follow. "What do you want us to do?" Emily asked, her mind racing. The dog nudged the fabric toward her, its eyes filled with an emotion that seemed almost human. Emily's instincts kicked in, and an overwhelming urge to help surged through her. "I need to get Mark," she said, determination flooding her veins. Inside, she found her partner, Agent Mark Reynolds, buried in paperwork at his desk. "Mark, you need to see this," Emily exclaimed, breathless. The dog followed her into the office, its tail low but its posture proud. She laid the fabric on the table, a piece of a child's shirt. "This dog came to us for a reason. We have to follow him." Mark's brow furrowed as he examined the GPS tracker. It pinged to life, revealing coordinates deep in a remote, wooded area known for its hidden trails and eerily quiet roads. "This doesn't look good," he muttered, glancing at the anxious dog. "Whatever this dog is leading us to, it's urgent." Ignoring protocol, they gathered their gear and made the decision to follow the dog into the night, each step heavy with uncertainty. The air was thick with tension, the trees towering ominously around them. The dog led the way, darting ahead through the underbrush, its strong legs driving it forward despite the exhaustion it clearly felt. Emily and Mark exchanged a glance, adrenaline coursing through them as they navigated the narrow path. Every rustle of leaves and snap of twigs seemed to amplify their anxiety. Hours passed like a heartbeat, each moment stretching into an eternity. The dog pressed on, its resolve unyielding. Emily felt a deep connection to the creature, as though they shared a silent understanding of the gravity of their mission. Suddenly, the dog became alert, its ears twitching as it scanned the shadows around them. They eventually reached a clearing where a dilapidated cabin loomed against the darkening sky. It looked abandoned, the wood grey and rotting, surrounded by thick brambles. The dog stopped, its body tense and rigid. Emily's breath caught in her throat as she spotted fresh tracks in the mud leading toward the cabin. Human tracks, alongside disturbing drag marks that sent chills down her spine. "Stay alert," Mark whispered, drawing his weapon as they moved closer. Emily's heart pounded. The dog began to bark furiously, scratching at the wooden floor as if trying to dig its way inside. "What is it?" Emily asked, fear and hope battling within her chest. With a nod, Mark pushed open the creaky door, revealing a scene that sent a cold shiver down their spines. Inside, the cabin was a mess, overturned furniture, scattered papers, and a chilling centerpiece, a trapdoor slightly ajar. Muffled sounds of a child's cries seeped through the cracks, their heart-wrenching pleas igniting an urgency within Emily. "It's okay, we're here," she whispered, determination growing stronger. "Let's get the girl," Mark said, motioning for Emily to take the lead. They descended into the darkness, and the flashlight beam revealed a young girl, no older than 8, bound and trembling in the corner of a damp basement. Her eyes widened with a mix of fear and relief at the sight of her rescuers. "Please help me," she cried, her voice breaking. Emily knelt beside her, cutting the bindings with a pocket knife. "You're safe now," she reassured her. The girl flinched at the sudden movement, but Emily gently lifted her into Mark's arms. He whispered comforting words. "We've got you. You're going to be okay." But just as they turned to leave, a noise from upstairs froze them in their tracks. Footsteps, heavy and deliberate. Emily's breath caught in her throat. "Someone's here," she hissed. Mark's voice was low but firm. "Stay behind me." The tension hung thick in the air as they made their way back to the stairs. The dog, now at Emily's side, its instincts kicking in, prepared for the confrontation. As they ascended, a figure emerged from the shadows, a man with a knife, gleaming faintly in the dim light. Time seemed to slow as Emily's instincts kicked in. "Drop the weapon," she shouted, her voice echoing through the cabin. The intruder hesitated, surprise flashing across his face. In that split second, the dog lunged, its powerful body colliding with the man's legs and causing him to stumble. Emily seized the opportunity, drawing her weapon and firing a warning shot that reverberated throughout the cabin. "Get down!" Mark shouted, pushing the girl behind him. The man froze, dropping his knife and raising his hands in surrender. Backup agents burst through the door, ready for action, and the situation swiftly turned in their favor. As dawn broke, the cabin stood silent, save for the heavy breathing of the agents and the whimpering of the rescued girl. She was safe, the attacker in custody, and the dog lay beside Emily, its head resting in her lap. Mark leaned against the wall, still catching his breath. "You know, Emily, we owe this dog everything," he said, shaking his head in disbelief. Emily smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude as she stroked the dog's fur. "He knew what we didn't, that we needed to act fast, that every second mattered. Without him, we might have been too late." The dog, tired but content, wagged its tail weakly. Its eyes reflected gratitude and relief as they stepped out of the cabin into the light of day. The sun painted the sky in hues of gold and pink. The case would make headlines, and the bravery of the agents would be celebrated. But the true hero of the story would remain nameless, a resilient, selfless dog who refused to give up, even when the odds were against him. His actions would be remembered as a testament to the bond between humans and animals, a bond that inspires resilience and hope, even in the darkest of times.